back for Arfield. 1-0 Burnley. Scott Arfield. He's been threatening that recently. And all the Burnley players run to the Darwin end.
Burnley win the next ball. It's Rory now. On the outside. Decent.
Barnes! He got it! Ashley Barnes with it! What a cross from Rory! And there was Ashley Barnes! And Burnley leading the derby.
Knocks it quickly. Finds Benson in space at the byline. Can Burnley get a goal here?
Back for Brownell! Saved by the keeper! Burnley won it to the end! That is magnificent! They deserve that! Only by Fulton Teller, off for a hat-trick, he's got it! Hat-trick for Nathan Teller! Oh, he's on fire at the minute! 3-0 Burnley! It's Nathan Teller's day, and Burnley are 3 up here. Fantastic derby!
Here's Benson. Can he go on the outside? Comes inside. Tommy shot.
Oh, the goal! Manuel Benson once more! That is top class! Burnley have done it! Fantastic! Clarets deserve the championship title. They've been the best side throughout the campaign. Burnley have won the second tier. What a fantastic achievement. The players have been magnificent.
Yes, hello everyone and welcome along to the latest instalment of the Turfcast podcast pre-game show with me, Joe Redmond, ahead of the game against Arsenal this weekend at Turf Moor as Burnley welcome the current Premier League leaders to the turf in a game that not many Clarets are probably going to be expecting anything from. But to be fair, we've put ourselves in a good position now. We can go into the game, no nerves, and just hope that we put up a good fight against a very, very good team. But as is always the case when we are in the Premier League, I'm always delighted to link up with AFTV, and I'm pleased to introduce Marty from that establishment. How you doing, mate? Good to have you guys back on. I believe it's your debut, though.
What's that? Sorry, mate?
Your debut on Turfcast. I've had Turkish on before, I've had Cecil, I've had Robbie, but here is Marty, the one that everyone wants.
Debut, new signing, straight in the first team. Let's hope I can perform. So, listen, thank you very much for having me on, Joe. It's an absolute pleasure. And thank you for coming on to ours as well and returning the favour. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. I've just been on Box to Box. I've been on there before as well. Make sure you check it out over on AFTV after we've done this one. Obviously, you won't need any links for AFTV. They are the original goats, but there will be some links in the description if you guys need it. Let's get straight into it then. A good start to the season for Arsenal. I think it's fair to say, Marty, through to the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. 3 wins out of 3 in the Champions League. Currently top of the Premier League table. I'm sure you're happy with that.
Do you know what, right? The thing, and I'm going to be honest with you, that I am most happy about is we've just had a perfect October where we haven't conceded 1 goal in the entire month. We haven't conceded a goal, I believe, in over 10 hours of football, which is like 630 odd minutes. Defensively, I mean, he changed it in the latest game against Brighton, where we had basically a different back four than the usual back four. And it just shows to me that the system that Arteta is put in is working. Listen, the personnel means everything, but the way we play football, we're very good at, in the first half, suffocating and strangulating teams and almost boring them into submission. Then in the second half, we come out the blocks and do the damage. And it's one of those things with Arsenal at the moment is, you know, if you play a low block, you sit back behind us, cool, we'll hit you with a set piece. Or if you want to come and play football, we'll stick 4 or 5 past you. And am I happy? Yeah, listen, I'm over the moon. If you had said to me at the beginning of the season, would you take this? I would have bitten your arm off for it, because there's been a lot of stuff, you know, in trust the process, and a lot of Arsenal fans, as you guys probably know, we're quite loud on social media, and you know, a lot of Arsenal fans, you know, definitely let their feelings known. So to find ourselves in this situation and sort of see, listen, I understand the season's early, it's not done yet. Leagues are won in May, and you know, titles, the earliest trophy you can start winning is the Carabao Cup in February, March. So we're starting to see stuff coming to fruition, and for me it's just about consistency. If we now keep, it's not even about stepping it up a gear. I think if we keep this level of consistency with how we play football, I can't see how, if I'm honest with you and I'm not jumping the gun and going too early, I really would struggle to not see us winning potentially maybe a Carabao Cup, FA Cup and the Premier League. Obviously, we're front runners at the moment with 4 points clear. And, then you've got, like, as it were, the big two teams out of the big six in Liverpool and Manchester City, both retrospectively 6 and 7 points behind us. So already we're starting to get a gap, and we've got you guys on Saturday, a game that I'm really looking forward to. It's an interesting game. I'm sure you guys will be compact. You're not. I'd find it very hard if you're going to come play expansive football and look to sort of play. It'll probably be a case of us trying to break you guys down. But it's going to be a very fascinating, interesting Premier League game, and it's these games that, as Arsenal, we need to win. I mean, you need to win every game. I get that, and I'm not taking that away from anyone. But if you want to go on and win titles, you need to be looking to get performances in all around the board.
Yeah, definitely. Just going back to something you started that answer with there about Arteta and the noise surrounding that from Arsenal fans. Presume that's my first question is, I presume that's quieting down quite a lot now due to the start of the season that you've had, and I presume the majority of the fan base is backing Arteta. And obviously, another part of the question will be, where were you on it all? When it was so loud, where were you personally on all that?
So I'll go to that bit quickly. Where I was personally, look, I was neither in or out. Or sitting on the fence. This is the interesting thing, that as a fan base, like, people devised it as it's got to be this in or this out, and then I'd be like, look, I'm neither, and they'd be like, oh, so you're sitting on the fence. For me, it's just about, I support my football club. I love my football club. I've supported them since a little boy, and I want the best personnel in charge of the football club at any given moment, and that's what I see. Is he the right man for the job? We'll find out at the end of the season. I do understand, listen, as much as I love instant gratification, everyone does, definitely in life. And we've definitely lived in a society of yesterday, Amazon Prime society. I do understand there is a process, and I remember watching Arsenal years ago, and we were finishing, saying it sounds maybe quite spoilt when you say, obviously, you guys had come up from the Championship. We were finishing 8th, and we had, there were some times we were bottom of the table when we started the Premier League, and we would, if I'm honest with you, we were playing some awful football. And when you bear in mind a 60,000 seater stadium, if that's only got 25,000 people in it, it feels like a ghost town. And it was a toxic place. The fan base, as you said, it was very much divided. And I think as Arsenal fans, we might be very good at doing that. It's something I didn't like seeing at all. But yeah, I've seen it. Has the noise quietened down? Yes, definitely. And it's interesting to see that, there's a lot of Arsenal content creators that base their content on Arsenal not doing very well, which is, for me, quite sad. But, it's interesting to see now we are doing really well. And yeah, the noise has quieted down. I definitely think it would be unfair to be asking or posing these questions of, is Arteta the man for the job? Because quite clearly for me, he is showing right here, right now, that, yeah, he is. I mean, that defensive record in world football, it sort of surprises me, blows me away. To be able to get a defensive unit together and not concede a goal in an entire month is special. And this is as we were a side that, we sometimes we'd go to Anfield. I've watched Arsenal all my life, and there was times that I'd fear going to Stamford Bridge or going to the Etihad or going to Anfield, because these sides will stick 4, 5, 6 past you. Like, they're dangerous. And I'm not necessarily seeing that with us now, albeit we stuck 4 past Atletico. It's the solidity and the ruggedness that we have. We were a side with a soft underbelly, and that was well known throughout the Premier League. There were a few teams like Burnley. I mean, was it Ashley Barnes that used to play for you guys? You could
still
see
does.
it.
He's left and come back. But he still does.
a player that's got a bit of bite, a bit of spite about him, you know, that would come on, he'd be like, I'd fancy these boys, and he'd run around and he'd give us a bit, you know, and it was a game that he liked because he knew that, you know, times gone past, Arsenal were a bit soft. But I don't see that now. You look at the likes of Gabriel and Saliba, you know, we call them the wall, and they're literally impenetrable. And I tell you what, they're tough guys. They're tough. You look around, you've got leaders on the pitch, you've got your Declan Rices, even Gyökeres, you know, he's an athletic guy. You know, he's in and about and he's around. And that's what you need. And then obviously we've got silky players to mix it up, and some fantastic footballing talent.
So where are you at with Arteta now then? Say, for example, at the end of the season, you haven't won the Premier League again. You haven't won the FA Cup. You don't win the Premier League, but you win the Carabao Cup. Say you win the Carabao Cup. I mean, Newcastle loved that last season. It was a massive thing for them, and I'm not knocking them. I'd kill to see Burnley win the Carabao Cup. Let's be fair. How would you feel then at the end of the season? Would you stay, not sitting on the fence, but would you stay in the camp that you're in now, where it's like, I just want the best, or do you think it'd be time to sort of move on?
So look, right, and the one thing about the Carabao Cup, and I get, and funny enough, I was talking about this last night on a stream, and the thing with the Carabao Cup is everyone says, oh, it's, you know, it used to be called the Milk Trophy, you know, and obviously it's a kids' competition and all that. And they say it's like the Community Shield. But the reality of the situation is, if you look at the previous winners of the Carabao Cup, you know, you've got the Manchester Cities, you've got the Chelseas, you've got Manchester Uniteds, you know, Liverpool's. These are, you know, Newcastle, big club, you know, all of these clubs, which suggests to me that these big clubs, they take it seriously. Why? Because it's a legitimate trophy. Now, I remember in 92, 93, when we won it, we won the league and FA Cup double. And, you know, you try telling Tony Adams and Paul Merson and, you know, Ray Parlour, David Seaman, that it doesn't mean anything, because I'll tell you what, they'll tell you a very different story. Now, is that enough for Arteta to just win a Carabao Cup and keep his job? It depends in what context. I mean, if we just win the Carabao Cup and we finish fourth in the league and we get knocked out of the Champions League, then obviously the fan base will go into an absolute meltdown. They'll be like, that's not acceptable. You know, and especially the position that we're in the Premier League now, where we're starting to gain momentum and we're starting to get in front. Like I said, it's not about turning up a gear, it's about consistency. So essentially it's ours to throw away. And as long as we keep winning our games, no one can catch us because we're in front. So it would be, us throwing it away. The Champions League, obviously we're doing well. It depends in what context. If we got to a final or semi-final of the Champions League, we got pipped to the Premier League title by a point, and you know, we won the Carabao Cup and we got to the final of the FA Cup. Listen, I would have seen progress this season, but then obviously then there's going to be even huger amounts of pressure on him next season. I mean, as Arsenal fans, we all know it. It's the Premier League and the Champions League that we want delivered. And personally, the Premier League for me, we haven't won it for 20 years. There's nothing better than I'd love to see Arsenal lifting that at the end of the season. And albeit the Champions League, a trophy that's evaded capture for many, for our history. I mean, we won the Cup Winners' Cup in '94, and then in '71 we won the Fairs Cup. So those are the only bits of European trophies which I know get trash talked quite a bit. But look, I think for me, Arteta's doing a good job. There needs to be progression. Obviously, with a manager, there has to be progression. It's as simple as that. And as long as I see at the end of this season progression, do I generally think we will win a double this season? I generally do. I've watched Arsenal for 40 years. And the one thing what I am seeing, I said this at the beginning of the season, the team that I'm seeing, we look dangerous. Like, we are solid. You know, when you go back and you look at that defensive Chelsea side, or, you know, the Man City sides, all these stubborn teams are really hard to break down. And you just go there and you're thinking, let alone, you know, beating this team, we probably ain't going to score a goal against them. And that's where we're at the minute. You know, I think we get a result against you and not looking too far ahead, and we go and get, you know, we keep a clean sheet against you. And let's say, you know, no disrespect to Burnley at all. You know, I understand Premier League football, anyone can beat anyone. And you guys, you know, were very close to beating Liverpool. I watched that game and I thought you were fantastic. And I thought you were really unfortunate to not get a point out of that game. You defended with your lives, and I really respect that, and showed real defensive qualities. And it was just an error at the end of the game. And obviously I wanted you guys to win the game because I wanted you to Liverpool to drop points. to do us a favour. So yeah, it's when you're looking at what we're doing this season and the quality we possess, I think there's we can't really get out of it without winning a major like the Premier League. There'll be uproar, as you said it with the Arsenal fan base.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I don't know, I said this to you on your show, but I did predict Liverpool to win the league at the start of the season. But having seen their capitulation, I'll be surprised if it's not you guys, if I'm going to be honest with you. But anyway, moving on. You mentioned a couple of times there, sort of like how you now sort of like this defensive side, and but on the flip side of that, there's been quite a lot of media noise. This isn't from Arsenal fans, or nothing I've seen anyway. Media noise that Arsenal now can't score goals from open play, or don't score as many goals from open play, and they focus a lot on set pieces. What's your opinion on sort of like the way that Arsenal kind of like changed up the way that they play slightly? Obviously, you sound very positive about it because you're now happy that you're quite solid defensively. You don't have that soft underbelly. Kind of similar to us in the Sean Dyche era, but not sort of like saying that we were as good as that. But it's sort of like similar, focusing on set pieces and things like that. Whereas Arsenal are normally known a little bit more for sort of like free-flowing attacking football. But obviously, you seem to change it up a little bit at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we scored 2 goals the other night against Brighton in open play. So, I mean, this media narrative, it's really interesting. There was a piece written by a reporter that I think it was in 2018 that really respected Liverpool for, set pieces and saying how great they were. And then that exact same reporter just recently, literally this week, put out a piece saying how Arsenal were ruining football through set pieces. Listen, at the end of the day, one thing Arsenal, and I think Arteta's done fantastically, is he's realised that, like your classic Stoke teams or Burnley or, these teams that they might accept, they might be like, look, attacking wise, we haven't got the best flair and we might not go and put, 2, 3, 4, but we'll keep it compact at the back. We'll keep it tight. We'll play well. And then we'll hit you with a set piece. Now, what Mikel Arteta's done is thought, do you know what? There's a lot of validity in that. And that is a really important part of football. And turn around and utilise that as a weapon. So sometimes when you come and play teams and they sit 11 men behind the ball, I don't care whether sometimes you've got Lionel Messi sitting on the bench and Ronaldo and, Ibrahimovic. Like, these teams are hard to break down. Like they could probably sometimes, like at the moment, if Arsenal sat back against most teams, I remember we did it like, I think it was last season against City, we were down to 10 men. We sat all 10 men behind the ball. And they only broke us down in the last second. Now, if we'd have had 11 men on the pitch, you would in a month for Sundays. I mean, teams aren't breaking us down. So there's ways to set up defensively where other teams can't break you down. And sometimes this set piece thing, we're just using it very well and using it for what it is. And, we do score goals in open play, but that's not always going to happen. And then also, like I said, there's times if people, teams want to play football, then we'll play football and, obviously we'll get slightly more success. But I think currently at the moment, probably defensively wise and how keeping clean sheets, teams sitting behind the ball probably works better for us because we can keep it tight at the back. We won't concede and then we'll nick a goal. When all you need is 1 goal to win a game. Like it happened against Palace. Very similar thing, edgy game. The first half with us is always quite tight, and then we take it into the second half. And obviously, Eze pops up with that goal essentially from a set piece. It's in the back of the net, and 1-0 wins us the game and gets us the points.
Yeah, well, the famous chant back in the 70s and 80s, wasn't it? It was 1-0 to the Arsenal. So that could make, make a return.
It still is. It rings around the Emirates regularly.
Happy days, mate. Well, focusing more on the weekend then rather than looking back at your season. Any big injuries or suspensions that we need to know about?
So Martinelli and Saliba. Saliba's been, he picked up, we don't actually know the entirety of it, but something happened against Palace and he got hooked at half time. But we've got Big Mosque, Christian Mosquera. We bought him for 13 million quid from Valencia in the summer, and Valencia fans quite rightly were in absolute uproar about that signing because he has been phenomenal. We first saw him fully when Saliba went off after 3 minutes against Liverpool at Anfield. And this guy filled in for Saliba. Like Saliba Well, we didn't even know he played for us. Like, and that's a huge statement. Like we all know, I'm sure a lot of people know about the qualities as a defender that William Saliba possesses, and he is a phenomenal defender. Now, Christian Serra slotted in and has done a fantastic job. So that wouldn't change defensively, doesn't weaken us at all. It's not a worry for me, which is again a crazy statement. Martinelli's picked up a knock. We've got long-term casualties and absentees of Gabriel Jesus, Kai Havertz, Martin Odegaard's out for a period of weeks, obviously our club captain. But Eze's filled into that role, obviously picked up the goal last week, still finding his feet slightly as an Arsenal player. But other than that, we're pretty stacked, and we've got insane squad depth. I've never actually seen an Arsenal squad of this much talent. And when I go back and I say this to you look at our squad, our entire squad picture. It's not usually you look at players and you think, he's a bit of a weak link, or it goes back to that old Marines, saying you're only strong as your weakest link, or that person. I'll be honest with you, there's not one guy in that picture that I look at and think you're not up to the job. We are stacked with quality in all areas. We've got 2 players for each position, and that's also why there's probably no excuse. The only position which is arguably we haven't is Gyökeres in the 9, but obviously Martinelli, for me, he can play in there, so he's someone that can flip into that position. And obviously we've got Mikel Merino, as crazy as it sounds, but he played in that position and got us goals. He scored, I think, 7 goals whilst he was in that position for us last season, and pleasantly surprised many Arsenal fans. So we've got a very good side, very good squad, and I'm looking forward very much to quite a few of these games in the season without going too far ahead to see how it fares.
Yeah, you mentioned there you've had a perfect October, won every single game, not even conceded a goal. You've said there you look at your entire squad and you don't look at them and think one of them's a weak link. How can teams hurt you then? If you could give me a way on how to hurt Arsenal, how do you do it? Don't worry, I don't think Scott Parker watches this.
Do you know what though? You say that players and obviously club staff do watch these channels. They, that is one thing that I have learned through my time on AFTV. So, and you do a fantastic job with this channel. I've looked at your stuff. So don't underestimate yourself, mate. You do an awesome job. How do you hurt Arsenal? Do you know what? I'll be honest with you. I look at this Arsenal side right now, and I don't actually know. I think the next team that scores a goal against us, I think I'm actually going to applaud them. Like, I'm actually going to get up and be like, fair play. I don't know. Defensively, we're just so sound. We don't make mistakes. I was saying that, I say that, and we'll probably make one at the weekend. We haven't conceded 3 goals or more in over 100 matches. That stat blows your mind as well. So, you take that into consideration. Chelsea the other night, they conceded 3. Liverpool conceded 3 in their last 2 games. We've conceded 3 all season. And they were to, Erling Haaland, who literally steamed at our defense, took it past an unfit Saliba and rifled it in the bottom corner, and then that Szoboszlai free kick, which we've said about that, and the Voltamada. So I don't know. I probably on a set piece, if you get a penalty or a free kick, you manage to get a free kick outside the area and you stick it in the top corner. Even that with set pieces. Offensively and defensively, we are very, very astute. And, as good as we are at scoring set pieces, we're equally as good at defending them. So it's an interesting one. I'm actually interested to see, as mad as this sounds, who and how the next goal that Arsenal Football Club concede is and how it is. Just because at the moment, there's no frailties.
To be fair, you've got to respect the confidence. But when you look at the October you've had, you can't really say that it's misplaced, to be fair. Looking ahead again to Saturday, how do you think you boys are going to settle? Like, what sort of style, what sort of players are you expecting to see Arsenal line up with on Saturday?
So the Arsenal lineup, I would imagine it to be Raya in goal, Timber at right back, then Mosquera at right centre back, Gabriel Magalhaes left centre back, Calafiori at left back. And this is the interesting thing: we play essentially with 4 centre backs in this 4-3-3 system we play. So they're big guys, they're physical. Jurriën Timber's probably I think Jurriën Timber and Gabriel Magalhaes are the 2 best players probably potentially in the world in their positions. And I mean, obviously, currently, I'm talking about not 6 months ago, not in 6 months' time. I mean, right here, right now. And then in the midfield, you'd have Zubimendi and Rice with Eze in the 10. Zubimendi sits in the 6. Rice is a left-sided 8. Box to box midfielder, energy, of 10 men. And then Eze sits in the 10. And then on the right-hand side, you'd have Saka. Left-hand side, you'd have Trossard. And up front, you'll have Gyökeres. And that's how we will, I would imagine, we'll set up. That will be the team. I would imagine it will face you guys. Listen, it's going to be a tough match. I'm not expecting you guys to roll over and, let us walk the ball into the back of your net by any stretch. We know it's Burnley at Turf Moor. Will we be up for it? We can mix it any sort of way. Listen, if you, like I said before, if you guys want to play football, we can hit you with 1, 2, 3, 4. Or if you want to play defensively, it might be a set piece or an outstanding piece of skill. I don't say any of that disrespectfully at all in any way, shape or form. I love what you guys have done this season. I really do, and I thought you guys would struggle selling James Trafford to City, and I was quite disappointed, if I'm honest with you, with coming up. He brought you in, he was fantastic for you guys last season, and he's obviously struggled at City. You've got Kyle Walker in your team, who I know all about Kyle Walker from his City and Tottenham and England days.
I'm sure I'll get a lovely reception from the away end on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm sure he will, mate. I'm sure he will, and hopefully he will. But yeah, look, I don't expect it to be an easy game. I'll take a 1-0 all day, every day. I would imagine it will be something like that. I don't know if you've got the firepower. I know you scored 3 goals against Wolves last week.
Wolves, yeah.
So listen, and I understand it's Premier League football and anything can happen, but I'd like to think that we get the job done and we come out unscathed, keeping the clean sheets, keeping this going, and yeah.
Yeah, well, we like to use this graphic that we get sent in every single week from the guys at Flash Score, which is done by Opta, not Opera, and they predict the win probability, as it says there. So Arsenal have got a massive 70%, Burnley just 13. Don't get me wrong, mate. We have seen a few of them already this season, but always a little bit sort of jarring when you see it that's so low. But that brings me on nicely to your predictions, please, mate. What do you think the score prediction is going to be?
Where's the other 17%? Who's nicked that?
There's a draw, mate. The draw.
Oh, the draw. Yeah. I see. Where's the 17%?
Work it out in your head. I could see the maps. Yeah, there's a draw. It makes me, every time I put that on Facebook or Twitter, somebody always goes, "What about the other one?"
You should put the draw up as well underneath it. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Predictions for game, please, mate. What's your score prediction?
1 or 3-0. I've been very indecisive this season with people saying, "Oh no, I just want 1." If I had to go for 1, I'd go 1-0 because that's what I'd take all day, every day. But look, 3-0. Yeah, I think it's going to be. I would be very surprised if we lost. Very surprised considering our form. But again, you never know. But yeah, I'd say 1-0.
Well,
yours?
To be fair, I went 2-0 Arsenal. 2-0 Arsenal for me. I feel like you're a better side than Liverpool. I think you can drag it around the pitch a little bit better than what they did. But I do think we'll try and sort of like hunker in and try and sort of like make it difficult for you. But as you've mentioned, you're good at set pieces, so it's difficult against a side that can be very good with set pieces. Well, you can dig in as much as you want, but then next thing you know, the ball's on Saliba's head from a 30-yard free kick and it's 1-0. So it's going to be difficult for Burnley, it really is. But this is why we're in the division. We're here to play against these teams. But Martin, we'll wrap it up there because I need to get back to work. And I know you guys are very, very busy at AFTV. Nobody needs to click a link to find AFTV or to be told where to find AFTV. But I will give you the opportunity now to let people know where to find you guys.
So AFTV, literally type it into YouTube, or you'll probably see a variety of us popping up all over your news feeds, being annoying. You can find me if you want to on Instagram, Marty Ovens 1 on Instagram. Just like to say thank you very much for having us on, Joe. You do an absolutely outstanding job with the Turfcast. Keep up the hard work. Really admire what you're doing. Looks fantastic, and hard work forever pays. So well done, and looking forward to coming to your place and nicking 3 points off you.
Yeah, well, Marty, good luck for the rest of the season. Obviously, after Saturday, mate. But thank you for coming to the show. I'm sure we'll link up later again in the season, mate.
Thank you very much, mate.